Last few months, there's been a lot of talk about fiscal stimuli, infrastructure spending by the government, and expert after expert has come here and told us, what about existing projects? What have we done over the last 2 or 3 years with those? What about the NHDP? Have enough roads been constructed, highways been constructed? If those had been done, the infrastructure would have, Indian economy would have got a huge stimulus in any case. So why has NHDP progress been very slow, and is it about to pick up? Dr. A. Didar Singh of NHAI joins in to clarify about progress on that space, very crucial to India's infrastructure spending and to various sectors which cater to it. Dr. Singh, thanks for joining in. A, would you concede that NHDP 3, both in terms of commissioning, offtake and completion, has not lived up to expectations? And can you tell us why progress has been sluggish for the last 2 to 3 years with the NHDP 3?
Yeah, we can talk about NHDP 3, but we should also talk about the original programs of NHDP 1 and NHDP 2, which was the Golden Quadrilateral and the North-South East-West corridor. As you know, the Golden Quadrilateral is virtually completed. 98% of it is done. So that can be considered as completed. So far as NHDP 2 is concerned, which is the North-South East-West corridor, it's going pretty okay. It's meant to be completed by December of 2010, so there is still time there. We are somewhere above 45% at the moment in terms of its completion and construction. So it's going quite okay. That is a major program, and it's certainly on. Yes, you've talked about NHDP 3. NHDP 3 is the additional about 11,000 kilometers, of which, remember, the majority has not yet been bid out. In fact, it's the part which was already bid, about 2,000 odd, that is certainly on, and it's doing quite okay. It's the fresh bidding issue which probably is what you're referring to in terms of the market not having enough, let us say, project online, or some amount of a little delay in it. But basically, we had to go through an entire process of, you've heard this before, the whole question of the request for qualification, the request for proposals, the qualitative bidding criteria, the rating of different interested parties on a certain government instructions. So on that whole basis, we had last year come up to put on the shelf 60 projects. These 60 projects, mostly of phase 3 and a few of phase 5, were of a value of approximately around 70,000 crores. This is what we actually were ready to put out from about September, October of last year. Now you know what happened. I mean, you're well aware of the financial meltdown, which obviously has impacted India also, and specifically the road sector too. And in a situation of this meltdown, with financial costs having gone up tremendously, quite obviously the bidders had second thoughts about their participation in the program. And somewhere around November or December of last year, we were actually worried, will we get any bids at all? Now, what is the situation that has happened as of now? So probably that will clarify the situation in terms of how the market is reacting to the whole process of fresh bidding and the process of how they perceive the road sector now and for the future. We'll probably get a fair idea of it. Now, as I mentioned, 60 projects were ready to be put on the shelf. Of this, we have called bids of approximately around 50 of those projects. The good news is that 22 of those projects have received positive bids. And that's a very remarkable amount, considering in a situation where, as I mentioned, in November, December, we were thinking, are we going to get any bids at all? Now, these 22 which have received bids, the value is around 22,000 crores. And incidentally, just for your information, 3 of these 22 bids are on revenue share. So, not only has the market reacted, but we've seen concessionaires willing to even offer revenue share, so they consider it that good. For those 3 projects, they consider the traffic volumes to be so good that they're willing to give, negative grant or revenue share. Now, of these 22 bids, as I'm mentioning to you, we have seen this very positive reaction on behalf of the market, And we hope that in the balance that we are going to be putting out further bids off, we will continue to get a positive response from the market.
Mr. Singh, Dr. Singh, how many of these 22 have been awarded finally? Because what we hear from a lot of experts is that it's probably not a problem only of financial closure or the ability for private parties to bid, but also of interminable procedural delays which are holding up awarding of these projects at your end.
It's not procedural delay. There is a process that has to be followed, and there are criteria and guidelines which have been announced in advance. Now, of these 22 bids which I'm mentioning to you, 7 have actually already been awarded. They're on. That's worth about 8,000 crores. That's already been awarded. 15, which are the balance, have had to be referred to government because of the certain guidelines or criteria that they fall under. For example, 7 of them are single bids. Now, we have a government stipulation that normally a bid is to be considered complete if it receives more than 1 bid. That is a minimum of 2 bids, and then it goes to the NHAI board for approval. Now, single bid situation, we have obviously had to refer to government for a decision on whether we should go ahead and open these bids and then consider awarding them. Similarly, we have had 4 of them are annuity based, so those again have to go through a certain process and they have to go back to the board for approval. And 4 of these were of phase 5, where the VGF was higher than 10%, which is the government stipulation should be the maximum VGF to be offered for these projects. So again, the matter has to be referred and the matter is under consideration. So that is the status as of now. 7 have been awarded, and the other balance are in the process of a decision which is required to carry on with the process.